Hello and welcome. This is the Goal is AFL podcast with myself, Caleb, up here, and we are going to be recapping round 23 of the AFL season. It was a kind of mixed bag. Couple good games, couple bad ones, big top 4, top 8 implications with these matchups, and we are here to dissect
100%.
all of it. I watched a fair bit of AFL this weekend. Caleb was a little bit hit and miss, but yeah, we're going to catch everyone up and preview what will be an incredible round 24. So, Caleb, what was the highlight of your AFL watching experience this weekend?
Well, my biggest disappointment was the Gold Coast Suns. I think they are a team that needs to be playing finals. I think they will play finals, but losing a home game to GWS, a fellow top 8 rival, is certainly not a good look coming into the round. Geelong, again, strong as always, pushing themselves into second place is massive for them. And then the other big surprise, which I was happy about, was as a Lions fan, they smashed the Dockers away from home.
Yeah.
And Fremantle certainly look like a team that deserves to be in the 8, but is not a contender at all.
Wow. I think we're going to dissect that a little bit. After the first game on Friday night, we had 2 games on Friday night, of course, was the Essendon Bombers, who continued their losing streak. They haven't won a game since May 23rd. So
yeah, is it 8 games in a row they've lost or something crazy like that?
Over 2 months of losses, so yeah.
Oh,
not great for
insane.
Essendon there, but St Kilda went for their 4th straight win, only winning by 2 points. It was pretty close at the end, but yeah, the Saints kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest. As you can see by the worm, the Bombers had the lead for a little bit, but it never really felt like they were in charge, so to speak. Essendon kind of missed a few opportunities, of course, kicking 11-11, so 11 behinds is never a good score, especially when you only have 22 scoring shots. So, but I think good signs for the Saints for next year. It's definitely they can take something away from this last little stretch of the year, just depending on whether or not they hang on to one of their star players in Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. So let's see if that will happen. Who knows? But yeah, this game was okay. But I think a lot of people were a little bit more excited about the next game, which we'll preview, which was the Freo Dockers getting destroyed by the Brisbane Lions in a pretty resounding fashion, and there was only really a couple of moments where Freo actually looked like they were on top, made it close a little bit going into the half. But yeah, this was pretty much Brisbane from the get-go. How did you watch this one?
Yeah, man. Freo, look, coming into the game, I thought, they're in good form. The whole media circus has built these guys up to be three-quarter time comeback kings, and they were losing at three-quarter time. So just, there's all that apprehension and whatnot. But Brisbane, like you said, in control from the start. Very aggressive with their ball movement, always trying to push it forward. And if they didn't have the option to, find the right target, they were willing to just move it side to side, wait for the right angle. Very patient in their play, which was, extremely exciting to watch as a Lions fan because it's just smart football. So many teams nowadays, they get a mark or a free kick at half-back flank and they just kick it long down the line to a contest. And it's like fine if you've got tall, exciting players, but like it's just not the most entertaining way to watch football, just long kicks and hope for a mark. So to see a team have the bravery to just kick, hand pass, try and push it through and move it quickly is super awesome. And Fremantle just had no version of that for themselves. They just didn't look formidable at all. None of their players stood up. And Brisbane, midfield game, considering, you've got a lot of big players out, really stepped up. And I think something that you'll touch on a little bit as well with your thoughts is obviously the big miss of Jared Berry getting an injury with his dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, is he out for the rest of the season? Or at least,
I think so.
At least next week for sure. And then, could be more, which is really unfortunate. But hopefully we get Lachie Neale back to bring back some strength for the midfield. But yeah, it was pretty close actually at the start. Like they were 5 behinds was Freo. So they had some scoring shots and possession in their forward 50. The Lions had, a ton of uncontested marks, which is kind of the hallmark. It was only 15-point game at quarter time. And then at three-quarter time, as you said, we blew it out to like 30 points, and they were kind of hyping up, Freo have come back from this margin. And I was looking, I was like, their largest margin to come back from was 13 points at three-quarter time. like this is more than double that. Like I really don't think that's going to happen. So, and anyway, we ended up winning by a lot more than that. So, great games from a fair few players who had not a great game last week, like Logan Morris. He really stood up. He's, the AFL is kind of waking up and realizing that he's really good. We already kind of knew that. Will Ashcroft, every time he touches the ball, was dynamic. He's already like the leader of that midfield in some aspects. I know Hugh McCluggage has been there for a long time, but it just feels like Hugh's that steady hand, and Will Ashcroft is like that spark that just gives you so much. And then you obviously have Levi Ashcroft had a really good game as well. I felt like his presence was really good. I feel like he should win the Rising Star. Like for someone of his age to come into a premiership winning side and fit in and contribute in the way he's doing, like speaks far more than the guy who is also in the running, who was also in this game, was Murphy Reed from Freo. Kind of been a bit of a, okay player, but nowhere near as influential as what Levi Ashcroft has done in a premiership, retaining side. So, that's just my take about him. And yeah, Harris Andrews had a great game. All those kind of key guys stood up. Ryan Lester had an amazing couple rundown tackles. Just overall great pressure from the beginning. And Freo just got punched in the face and really didn't have an answer.
Yeah. It doesn't help as well when you kick lots of behinds early in the game.
They were 0-8.
So you just get those.
They were eight.
Yeah,
eight
you
behinds.
just get those jitters in front of goal, and it just everyone in the crowd just gets that apprehension and the nerves increase, and it just translates to the players. But Freo, that's what you got to do if you're stepping up in the big games. You've got to kick through the big sticks, and Brisbane did that more often than Freo, and it was a pretty resounding 57-point win in the end, which was a big surprise for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that put Brisbane up for the moment of after that win. They put them up to second, just beneath Adelaide. And it looks like with what we'll talk about later, Adelaide winning, they're probably going to win the minor premiership just because the teams they're playing and kind of how they've been playing. And so I think the best we can hope for is second spot, which is fine. You obviously get home final in the qualifying round, so
which is definitely what we want.
Well, do we? Because it seems like we're not playing amazingly at home, and then
that's a good point.
And then we're these road warriors where we go on road trips and the boys get together, and it's like us against the world type mentality, and they seem to have thrived on that.
Yeah.
Going to the MCG, going to West, going down to the West. So who knows? Who knows what we'll get? I'll be happy. Honestly,
that's a good point.
I don't really care where we finish as long as we finish in the 3 to 6 range. Like I'm not like that bothered because I think that we can pull it together when we need to, injuries providing. But that was our Friday night, which was an awesome game. And then this one was a pretty good game as well. The Giants had the wood over the Suns pretty much the whole game. Did you see any of the highlights from this one? Because it was a pretty hot game, actually. It was like, I think it was like 27 degrees at the bounce. Obviously, Gold Coast is a bit hotter than Brisbane, being closer to the ocean and such. But yeah, GWS just kind of ran away with this one.
Yeah, what was the go with just like the midfield battle? Because even the last couple of weeks, everyone's been piping up Matt Rowell and Noah Ainsworth and stuff like that. And it's Noah Ainsworth. Noah Anderson. Noah Anderson, my bad. But those guys have been stepping up massively for the Suns. And, obviously GWS have been around the last couple of years and have proved themselves. But was it much of a contest at all in the middle, or GWS just getting clearance after clearance after clearance?
No, it was a pretty good contest. Like in the middle, it's just like when it got to the pointy end, they couldn't really get anywhere. Like when I talk about the defense of GWS was much better than the forwards. So obviously Sam Taylor back there is kind of the leader of that GWS. But yeah, like Noah Anderson, Tuke Miller, Matt Rowell all had in the upper 25 disposals, had their influence on the game. Wasn't like they smashed them, but yeah, they definitely were good, but just not good enough to push them over the top, which really puts them in a precarious situation because now the Gold Coast, obviously without having played as many games as everyone else, is sitting outside of the 8 right now. So we'll have to have a look at and see how that goes towards the end. I think they're playing Richmond in their last game and then Essendon in the game after.
Correct, which is on a Wednesday. So
it's on a Wednesday, the 27th. So yeah, it could be a wild kind of last game. Like they're still feeling the effects of the Cyclone Alfred, which is wild. It seems so long ago, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
it seems so long ago, but yeah, pretty much it was close at some point towards the middle of the second quarter, but yeah, it just was GWS time after time just kicking back, answering any goals that Gold Coast would kick one goal and then GWS would kick two. So it was just back and like
I see.
that kind of one step forward, two steps back type thing. So again, GWS impressive. They seem to be a team that plays well away from home as well. So we'll see where they go. I think they're going to be locked into a spot. But we'll see, obviously, for round 24. There was another game on Saturday which was of really no consequence. Second last game for Ken Hinkley. His last game next week will be at home. But yeah, Carlton, couple wins on the trot now, so maybe they can start building something. Michael Voss maybe getting a little bit more job security. We'll see. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, I just am disappointed that Port Adelaide haven't really stepped up for Ken Hinkley's last season. There's not much else to be said about it,
Yeah,
but
it's been a pretty bad season.
yeah,
Very
like
bad.
he's just going out with a whimper. Like
Yeah.
from a Port Adelaide perspective, I think he'll be revered, but from an AFL perspective, it's like, what
he?
is his legacy?
Will he be revered? I don't know. It's been a pretty bad
Well-
last 3 or 4 years. I know he took him to some high spots on the ladder, but, you know.
Look, I'm not really the right person to ask, but
No.
I feel if you asked a Port Adelaide fan what they thought of Ken Hinkley, they'd say more positive than negative things, I feel.
Okay. Depends who you talk to, I guess, yeah. The other game that happened on the Saturday afternoon was the Hawks, who solidified their position in the top 8 against Melbourne. 92-56. This was pretty much a runaway game. There wasn't really anything to speak about of note here. It was from the get-go, the Hawks kind of ran over the top of them. I think they got out to like a 25-point lead and just, kept that going the whole time. So I think they just could have kicked more goals, but they kind of put the cue in the rack to kind of think about Brisbane next week. So
Oh yeah,
that was a nice... go ahead.
my biggest surprise was Jack Gunston kicked 7 goals, and I'm like, didn't this guy used to play for Brisbane and
Yeah, he
not
did.
be that good? I'm
Yeah.
like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
So fair play, but bloody hell, Hawthorn getting the job done.
Yeah. I mean, like, where was that when he played for Brisbane? Honestly. Anyway, we'll get over that.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. We're not holding a grudge at all for that one. So the other game, which we will kind of touch a bit more on, was Adelaide
Yeah, this was a big one.
beating Collingwood. This was a classic, like, old school, hard nosed finals style matchup. Adelaide winning by 3 points in the end. They actually had like a 13-point lead, like close to a 2-goal, just over a 2-goal lead late in the fourth. But yeah, Collingwood kind of came back a little bit, hit them with a couple late goals, and eventually they just held on at the end. And yeah, it just seemed like that late magic that Collingwood used to have has kind of run out. Lost 5 of 6, couple close games, couple blowouts. So, I mean, who knows? They could finish outside the top 4 very easily. Seeing on the other results that are going to happen, but obviously they banked a lot of wins at the start of the season, so yeah. But they're in free fall. So, any thoughts on how good Adelaide looked, and I suppose how bad?
Look at that second quarter score for Collingwood.
Yeah.
1 point in the whole quarter
Yeah,
is
they went-
insane.
I think-
That's just not acceptable.
I think they went close to 65 minutes without scoring a goal.
Like, I understand Adelaide Oval's a hostile environment nowadays, but like
Yeah,
for Collingwood to not be scoring goals when they've got plenty of threat, both from the midfield and the forward line, that is just crazy.
Yeah.
So look, you got to give credit to Adelaide. I feel.
I think Adelaide kicked 8
it's
straight
awesome.
goals as well.
Yeah, it's awesome to see Adelaide Oval just bouncing in
Yeah.
such a visceral, excited atmosphere, and
Fif-
I've not seen that in years. So that's awesome.
54,000. I think the highest ever crowd for an Adelaide Collingwood game at Adelaide Oval. So
Yeah.
which is obviously saying a lot because Collingwood's got a lot of fans all around the country. So
Yeah.
no, this is definitely, I think this solidifies Adelaide as a top contender, as in they're going to finish top of the ladder and probably should be favourites going into finals because they've beaten pretty much everyone in the top
Can you
4.
remind me, Harry, where did you predict that Adelaide would finish in the 8? Because I had no chance that they were going to be in the 8.
I thought they were going to be in the 8. I can't quite remember off the top of my
But
head.
I think, said they were going to be like mid-table-ish, right? They were.
I think they were going to be
like
around
going to be a contender.
mid-table,
They
yeah.
weren't going to be dog shit, and yet they are somehow.
Well, no one thought they were going to
Bulletproof.
be good,
Yeah.
Yeah. No one
So
thought
full
they were going to
credit.
be good. So, anyway, full credit to them. Yeah, Matthew Nix kind of turned things around, just pressed the right buttons, made things click. So, good on Adelaide, and we'll see how they go with who they're going to play. So they'll play probably the fourth seed, which could be either a rematch of this game or perhaps Brisbane, perhaps Geelong, perhaps even the Hawks, someone like that. So we'll see how they go, but they feel pretty confident. The other games that happened was Sunday. We had a game which happened, North. Biggest headline from this one, Harry Sheasel getting 54 disposals.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to say that. God damn it.
You talk about it then. Go for it.
Oh, well, that's an insane amount of disposals. I understand it's Richmond, but
Yeah,
bloody hell,
Richmond.
54 disposals.
Yeah. That ties the record?
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
really?
It tied it all time. I think it tied Tom Mitchell's all-time record. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's even more insane.
Yeah.
Fair play. But yeah, Luke Davies-Uniacke also got 40 disposals, which, again, having two players in your team getting that many touches is just
wild.
insane. And then, obviously, Tristan Sherry, who's, in that sort of all-Australian form, got 17 tackles, which is, huge for a ruckman to be able to, get that involved and be that aggressive at the contest. It's huge. So I know we've talked about North Melbourne a lot this season in terms of, like, where really are they in their progression?
Yeah.
And Richmond's not really a good acid test.
No.
But I know, and I think you would agree with this, we've said more positive, looking forward into the future things about Richmond than we have North Melbourne.
So far,
and yet this result suggests the opposite. So, bit of a question mark I feel.
I think coming into the year, people were like, North are much better than Richmond. And now I think people are like, they're probably on the same path. Maybe North have a couple more years on them, but they haven't proven anything yet. So, we'll see where these two teams end up at the end of the season. And then we'll have two more games, sorry. So you had Sydney, whose season was already over despite beating Brisbane last week, got defeated by Geelong. And this is kind of one of those games that annoys me about Geelong is that they'll often lose the close game, but then they always win the game they should win. Like if it's an overwhelming odds, they always just find a way to beat the bad teams, which is what you have to do, obviously, if you're a good team. But they've had some pretty kind of big losses this year against big teams. Thinking of Brisbane, but yeah, they always just seem to win against the bad teams.
I have two questions for you with regards to this game. The first being, if you're a Geelong player, coach, fan, are you happy about the fact that your run into finals has been easy in the sense that you've had a lot of big blowouts? Or would you have preferred coming into finals to have a bit more of a hotly contested, close games so that you're sort of more physically and mentally prepared for finals footy? Do you think the fact that they've had a pretty easy run in makes it better or worse for Geelong going into the qualifying final?
I think they have enough experience where that shouldn't be an excuse, but I think it's probably going to hurt them a little bit where they don't have a full slate of games where they've been tested under their belt. It feels like they've definitely had a little bit of an easier kind of run in, but you can only play who's in front of you, so what can you do?
Absolutely true.
This game, if you looked at this game at this time last year, you'd have been like, this is a top matchup. But, so they make the schedule based on where the teams finished last year, and it just so happens that one of these two teams is rubbish. So, it is what it is. I wouldn't be worried about that if I was Geelong. Let's just say that.
Okay. Well, I agree with the thing you said about them having enough experience in the team to be able to navigate that. The second question was, did you hear or see what happened with Chris Scott before the game and the SCG turf and stuff?
There's a huge difference.
What was the go there? Because SCG has had some pretty shocking grass this year.
Well, apparently, the field was fine. It's just the centre wicket, which is because obviously they're kind of, I suppose, getting ready for cricket season, although it feels early. But they keep
they shouldn't be doing that while the AFL season's
but they keep the centre square in a certain condition, but you could instantly see the difference between the square and the rest of it. Instantly, it's a different color. It's a different, almost like a different level. Like it was almost like a couple millimeters thicker or higher. And apparently it was really causing some havoc in the center bounces. Obviously, that's where most traffic is throughout the game. And that's why are we not making it? I understand cricket wickets have to be a bit harder, but man, it felt like he said it was like Mumbai out there, like it was a road.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
yeah, that was
It's not what you
interesting.
want if you're an AFL player. I remember when I was playing juniors and stuff, and you walk onto some ovals, and the center square is just like cement,
Yeah,
and just getting tackled there is like a big problem.
mm,
So at the pro level, I personally think that's unacceptable.
yeah.
So yeah, big question marks for the SCG guys.
The last game, which did happen, but we won't really talk about it, was the Western Bulldogs
Nah,
defeating
bloody doggies. Let's go, man.
Eagles. Doggies doing really well, but yeah, Eagles put him in the bin. Season done. I don't even know if they'd want to be playing next week. So that leaves us with a ladder that
Yeah.
looks like this, which was, as we talked about, Adelaide on top, Geelong moving up to second. So you got that kind of 4 points clear is Adelaide, 2 points clear is Geelong, and then you got Brisbane with that draw at 62, and then you've got the kind of middle part, Collingwood, Hawthorn, Geelong. GWS, Hawthorn, Freo, all on 60 points. So having, four teams on 60 points is crazy at this time of the season, isn't it? And then Western Bulldogs 56, and then we have the last kind of 10, which we won't really talk about too much. But yeah, as I said, Gold Coast currently sitting outside on 56 points, just outside on percentage. So, yeah, man, give me a rundown. What do you think about that?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard somewhere in the media that this could be the first season where a team has 15 wins on the board
Yeah,
and misses finals.
that's wild.
And that is like pretty hard to swallow if you're that team because, like I said, for many, many weeks, I think Western Bulldogs have been good enough to play finals and deserve to be there.
Mm,
Fremantle in recent weeks, excluding Brisbane, have shown that they deserve to be there. GWS beat Gold Coast. They
yeah,
deserve to be there. Gold Coast as well, like they obviously have the 2 games remaining, so will most likely get the points to sneak in, but
yeah.
like it's so tight, and if you miss out, look, I think if Damien Harbuck was to miss out with 15 or more wins,
Mm-hmm.
that would be extremely harsh.
Yeah, for sure. If they lost their...
Considering how much of a journey that they've gone on over the
Mm,
last 2 seasons
yeah,
and the expectations around the Suns now. So like
yeah,
that would just be absolutely brutal.
yeah.
But yeah,
To
what do
play...
you guys? Well, what do you think about how the top 8 is unfolding?
Yeah, if Gold Coast played that well all year and then lost their last three games to miss out on the finals, like that's insane. That's wild. So, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll still probably make it, but yeah, you'd think at the start of the season or halfway through the season, you'd think that they would be in there. I suppose fighting for a top four, and it's pretty solidified in the top 8. But yeah, they're still fighting for their life. So, but it makes for a kind of exciting last round. I think last year we were kind of who's going to make the 8, and now the conversation is more like where is everyone going to be in the 8. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. So we'll see who comes out on top after the games from next week. Which, as we'll have a look here, Thursday night throwaway. Don't know why they put these two teams on prime time.
I told you weeks ago, mate. Essendon Thursday night footy. It's a marriage made in heaven.
And then you've got on Friday another 2 games. So you've got Gold Coast going to Adelaide Oval, which, I know Port Adelaide, but like it is Ken Hinkley's last game. So can they finally muster it up and get it up one more time for Ken Hinkley and spoil Gold Coast party? That's kind of the question. And Melbourne obviously going to want to play spoilers, but I think that Collingwood will probably win that one by a lot. So any predictions for these ones?
Oh, look. I think Carlton should win. I think Collingwood should smash. And I hope Gold Coast win a close one. I hope Port Adelaide do actually put a fight up for their last game for Ken Hinkley.
Yeah. And then we got our Saturday, which looks like North playing Adelaide, which kind of maybe Adelaide might be resting some people. Who knows? But
Look, I would be.
yeah, I mean, I don't really...
Because even if you lose the game, unless Geelong like win by a massive percentage, like
Yeah.
you've got top spot. Like I know the percentage is quite close. Like Adelaide has 141% and Geelong is 140.7%.
Yeah.
So like it is possible for Geelong to go top, but either way, you've locked in a home final. I'd be resting players personally.
Yep, and you've got 17 versus second there, which is Geelong, obviously playing in the second spot, and then you've got West Coast versus Sydney, which so it's a pretty actually kind of boring Saturday slate. But then you have Sunday where you have GWS trying to lock in a spot against St Kilda going for 5 wins in a row. And then you've got on Saturday, the other games on Sunday, you got Bulldogs Freo, which is a crazy game, and then Lions Hawthorn, which is another crazy game. So Sunday is kind of the day to be on your couch watching from 3 o'clock. That's going to be a fun time. And then Wednesday, as we said, the last game of the season, Gold Coast versus Essendon. So that could decide also some finals implications. So all to play for still. 10 games left in the season. It's crazy we're already here.
Yeah, what I hope is that when it does get to that Wednesday game, Gold Coast still have a chance of making the 8, and it's like in a quite dramatic fashion. Like, let's say, I don't know, let's look at the table. Quick math. Let's say the Doggies beat Fremantle and they go to 60 points.
Yeah.
And then Gold Coast have to win because of percentage or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I just hope this game, even though it's Essendon and no one likes Essendon and they're boring, I hope it draws the eyeballs of the AFL to be like, oh, Wednesday night footy, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Can the Suns do it? And there's a storyline behind it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I personally think the Gold Coast making the 8 would be pretty exciting for the AFL. But if they don't, there's a storyline for the media to go hard on David Harbuck with. So either way, I think it works. I just want it to be a nice final day, action-packed adventure. So, but the other games, look, I've said this to you before. I'm super excited for both these games, and I look forward to watching them. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think the Gold Coast game will be a good test as to who is like the real Gold Coast fans. Like, classically, they don't show up for games.
Yeah.
Apparently they've got a somewhat decent fan base, but I never see their stadium full in any capacity. Will this game, which could be a final, like a play-in game to get into the 8, they need all the fan support they can get. It's on a Wednesday night. It's a standalone game. Like, will people show up for this? For me, I don't think so.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that.
I don't think.
There you go. There's another media storyline to go with. So there you go.
I think Wednesday night, of course they had to kind of put it there because of they don't want them to play too close. How many games? How many days is that? It's like a 5-day break, and they're traveling. So and you can't put it too close to the next weekend's games. So because they're having a week off in between. So I don't know. It is what it is. But I think no one's going to show up for this game. Especially even if Gold Coast is still fighting to get into the 8. So, yeah.
Well, I'll say they certainly get more fans in their stadium than GWS, and that's all that counts.
Oh, boy. Okay. I think that's enough for our round 23 recap. We'll be back next week for an exciting recap of all of the round 24 games and a look into the matchups. Well, should we maybe do it on like a week, after the last game on the Gold Coast, or just?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you then on.
Because that way, it's a final season round wrap up.
Yeah.
So
and a finals preview and a proper finals preview. So we'll check that out. Thank you so much again for everyone for watching. Thank you, Caleb, for joining me, and we will see you on round 24. See you guys.